pretty new, stunning poll out. This time, this was from Harris Poll. So let me pull this up because this one, again, Logan, what it is showing is that Donald Trump keeps adding to his number. He's now basically in every poll.
Yeah.
Is at least showing him at 60%.
Yeah, I was in this state of Florida for the last 2 weeks, and what I'll tell you is the first week I was there, it was a lot of DeSantis coverage. People were talking about it still. It was big in the news. And then really once the situation happened in Miami, the news shifted significantly on a local level. Once you saw him showing up to things to obviously be arraigned, but then later on at the Versailles restaurant in Miami, the tone started to shift. More people. And what I don't really get, and I see this from my friends on the left who are on social media, is they just don't understand the voter at all in terms of how they react. And they don't understand that, yes, could there be things that could take down a President Trump from this? Sure, and that could be a legal situation, like a legally disqualified, if that was even a thing.
There's no such thing.
But beyond that, the supporter sees corruption and they're responding to it. It almost just goes, yeah, I told you this is how it's going to be. So here it is. So nothing sways that. Nothing changes that. Whether you like that or not, whether you want to admit that or not, the base voter for the Trump campaign, for the Trump supporters, are not going to be swayed. In fact, they're going to be more enraged when they see this type of thing happen. Yeah. So I'm not shocked, as someone who just spent a few weeks in Florida, to see that bump happen. And honestly, to see
DeSantis go down.
I'm not that shocked.
He's now gone down. He's lost about 10 points in the polls now.
And the problem is, and some of it is this, is that even in Florida, the local news, let's say I was in the Orlando area, is still pretty liberal bias news. I mean, it's
definitely
even the local news.
Disney.
They're definitely showcasing, especially in the month of June, showcasing a distaste for DeSantis. That is part of the narrative being told, even if they know the majority of their voters voted for him. So it's interesting to see, because it was almost like watching real-time hit pieces on DeSantis, and then the coverage of the Trump situation, which was a little bit less hardcore. It was more like, look at the supporters following him. Look at what's happening here. Look at the sort of the carnival, the circus that follows.
Yeah.
Whether you liked it or not. So it was interesting to see that play out locally. I also can be honest, I drove around Central Florida quite a bit. I saw very little public display of DeSantis.
This is in his home state.
That's what I mean. And I didn't see Trump stuff either. I just saw nothing. And I know we're still quite a ways out, but you'd even think there'd be some remnants of DeSantis stuff from his election a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And that's not even there. Not even a year and a half ago. A year ago. So that was fascinating to kind of watch locally while I was there, to see if people were really engaged in what was happening. And truthfully, it just wasn't there.
Then you have the others who basically all came out and said, this is wrong. But now you're starting to get them, they're saying that it was wrong that he was prosecuted, but also wrong what he did. And I'm not sure that line is going to fly with people, because you already came out and told them, you wrote these big tweets about how this is political persecution and wrong. And then you're now trying to come out and say, but he did now, but what they did charge you with is horrendous. So I don't know if you can have your cake and eat it too on that issue. You kind of get stuck with the Vivek Ramaswamy thing, where he's like, are you not going to pardon him if you became president?
Yeah. Horrendous. Joe Exotic said he won't pardon him because he didn't pardon him. So
is he running again
yes, he is.
Prison?
From prison.
It does remind you can run from prison.
Yeah, I guess that's true. What happens in that? You pardon yourself, you get out.
Yep.
Good to know. Just to have in your back pocket, run for president. So if you're in prison right now,
on federal charges,
why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you run?
The state charges you can't.
Oh, that's true. I found it pretty fascinating to watch, but we'll see. We're 6 weeks away from 8 weeks away or so from poll, and from the first debate. It's got to be in August, so we're probably 8 weeks-ish away. I don't know the exact date. Has Trump committed to doing them? Have anyone committed to doing them yet?
I don't know that we've got any commitments on the debate.
I'm just curious. And who's running that debate? It's
That's
the RNC debate. But yeah,
it's in Milwaukee, which is where
they've got to be booking the moderators and all that, though, now. All that stuff should start coming out. And that, I think, will really also kind of see, those are the things that are interesting to me, because it's like, well, who agrees to do it? Who doesn't agree to do it? Remember, Trump didn't even do all of the debates in 2016.
He picks and choose.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is that President Trump has got about the same poll numbers as Joe Biden inside his own party. That's pretty wild, considering he's not the incumbent president. And some people have said, I'm sick of him. But, I mean, now when you start getting to the 60 percentile, yes, you have to look at the states, and states are going to be different than national polls. But if one of these candidates doesn't break through and win a couple of those, then they can't raise the money necessary, because why would you write them checks? You feel like you're writing a check to nothing. And I will tell you, to take on Donald Trump, you're going to need a giant campaign inside the Republican Party.
Yeah. A
very expensive campaign. You'll probably have to raise much more money than he will have to raise. Because look at what he does. On the day he's arraigned, he dominated the news from noon. Well, they were talking about it even before.
Yeah.
But literally, there was a camera on him or his airplane or his car from noon until he gave a speech in prime time.
Right, in the evening. Yeah, I was out at a restaurant. Everyone was seemingly like popping on their phones and looking at, what's happening right now. Because the whole going to Versailles, the restaurant and all that sort of became the local story in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was like, look at this. Who else could just be like, everyone follow me here? It's like being at Comic-Con. Everyone follow me here and let's party. It's such a Donald Trump move that it was really interesting to watch and watch people around me reacting to it.
Rick Riddell was in last week, and Rick had just come straight from Bedminster when he came here, which was supposed to be the president's birthday party, and turned into the speech after the day before his birthday was the arraignment, and he said some birthday that is. But we talked about the idea of too, like how many people could pull that off even mentally. Yeah, like you just went through 3 hours of a very unpleasant process.
Yeah, for anyone.
It doesn't matter if you're the president or a common criminal. You've been arraigned. You've had to be fingerprinted. You've been in these courthouses for 2+ hours. You haven't said a word. You got you spend your entire day doing this. And then you have the energy to show up in Versailles, do a mini campaign event there, and they give an hour and a half address to the nation about it. Most people don't have that in them. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're 77 or 27. They just don't have that fight in them. So I think the poll also reflects that. It's this guy is a fighter. Things seem horrendous. And it seems like the only way to turn things around is somebody who can get on the phone with Vladimir Putin, who can get on the phone with Chairman Xi and tell him to knock it off, or else. And not have to have these big spats where there's actual missiles flying and people actually being killed.